Welcome to the stream. Please let me know your questions ahead of game week 8. My bench boost is currently active. I'm not really sure if I will go through with it, but I'm really tempted. But I need to make a couple of transfers before playing my bench boost. So Rogers, he will most probably go. Same goes for Williams. Rogers playing against my double Spurs defense and Williams playing against Joao Pedro. So not really a fan of having my attackers playing against my defenders. So Rogers, Williams, they will be sold. The question is, who should I bring in? I'm really tempted by Enzo Fernandez, even though he's yellow flagged. I think that he is a really good asset going forward. So Rogers to Enzo Fernandez and selling Williams to someone like Diouf, the West Ham defender. I really fancy him going forward, so he might be my transfer in. Another option for me is to sell Rogers and bring in Paqueta, and this will give me enough to upgrade Williams to an Arsenal defender. So Timber, Gabriel, one of them will potentially come in ahead of game week 8. So not really decided, but I might actually do those moves this evening. Hopefully the sound is okay. Please let me know in the chat. And if you're interested, post a picture of your latest team selection on my latest post over on X. I'll get it up on the screen. So at the moment, this is my team. I usually have Rodon on the bench, but I really like the fixture against Burnley. So he will be in my starting 11, even if I play the bench boost or not. So I actually think that Rodon is a better option compared to Van de Ven for game week 8. So I have 2 free transfers. I will most probably use both. I actually have considered taking a hit as well. I'm really tempted by Enzo, as mentioned. I like Paqueta as well, and Williams, he will probably leave my team. So another option for me is actually to take a -4, selling both Rogers and NGI. By doing this, I can bring in Paqueta, Enzo, and an Arsenal defender. But taking a -4, I'm not really sure if this is the way to go for my team at the moment. NGI, he actually has really good fixtures after game week 8. Tough game, of course, playing away against Man City at the Etihad, but I'm not really sure what I will end up doing ahead of game week 8, but I will most probably sell Rogers and Williams. The English Aussie, keep drafting, bro. Thanks. Quiet evening so far, only been live for like 5 minutes, but this happened to my latest video as well. So for watching, 4 likes, keep it up. Well, at least that's a good sign, right? all of the 4 viewers so far in the first 5 minutes have enjoyed the content. This has actually happened to me so far this week. So I had a couple of videos reaching a couple of thousand views, but my latest video only has gotten like 150 views, something like that. So a solid 10 out of 10. Hey bro, how are we? Just fine. Thanks for joining in. Really excited for the Premier League to return this weekend, to be honest. Really missed it last week. So I watched a couple of international games, but it's not the same as the Premier League, at least for me. So really looking forward to the games tomorrow. Really excited for FPL to be back, of course. I'm actually planning to play my bench boost this game week, so I will make a couple of transfers. On wildcard this week, which two would you prefer, Munoz and Anderson, Elliot Anderson, or Richards and Enzo? The thing is that I'm really tempted by Enzo myself, but will he definitely start in game week 8? We didn't get any confirmation from Enzo Maresca on today's press conference, so however, I would probably go Richards and Enzo. I think that Elliot Anderson, if you're going to play him, at least if you're going to play him week in, week out, I definitely like option B better with Richards and Enzo Fernandez. We know that Cole Palmer, he will be out for several weeks, and Enzo Fernandez, he is the first choice penalty taker for Chelsea. So Richards, Enzo, I think this is a better combo compared to Munoz and Elliot Anderson. Nice team. What moves are you planning? Actually, as mentioned, I have actually activated my bench boost. I really want to get the bench boost out of the way and start downgrading one of my midfield 5 or potentially one of my forwards. So at the moment, my plan is to sell Rodgers and Nico Williams. Both of them will probably be sold. I have Rodgers playing against my double Spurs defense, and I have Nico Williams playing against Joao Pedro. So kind of counterproductive playing against each other. So Rodgers to Enzo is an option for me, and this means I will have to downgrade Nico Williams to someone like Diouf. Another option is to go a bit cheaper in midfield, so Rodgers to someone like Paqueta, and I can upgrade Nico Williams to an Arsenal defender. So I'm leaning towards the last option with Paqueta and Gabriel. Gabriel, he might actually potentially be a season keeper, so he can pick up defensive contributions and contribute with attacking returns. And Arsenal, they are the best defense in the league as well. So even though his price has gone up, I still think that Gabriel is really good value. Might just go for Timber as well. Even though he's a bit more prone to rotation, I still think that Timber is a really good option at the moment. So selling Rodgers, selling Williams, this will happen. I can go with Paqueta and Arsenal defense if I want Enzo. I can't afford an Arsenal defender, and this means I will probably go for the West Ham defender Diouf. So one of the main reasons why I'm tempted to play my bench boost this game week is because at the moment I actually have 8 strong attackers. So I have 5 decent midfielders. So I want to downgrade one of them. So every game week I have to bench a decent player. So of course in game week 8 it's not that easy. So if I were not to play my bench boost, I could easily have benched NGI. Of course, really tough fixture playing against Man City at the Etihad, but NGI, he is nailed on. He is on penalties, so he might do something against Man City. So I have Nico Williams on the bench, but he will potentially become Gabriel, and I have Van de Ven playing against Aston Villa. Decent fixture for Dubravka as well, and this is one of the reasons why I'm tempted to play my bench boost. This is why I have pointed out game week 8 as my potential bench boost week, because I have Rodon, I have Dubravka, we have a decent fixture in game week 8. Can I send you my team and you rate? Tell me where it's good or not, or what to change. Aaron takes, definitely. So if you're interested in having your team up on the screen, just post a picture under my latest post on X. This is probably the easiest way for me to, and others in the chat, to get a good look. So just head over to X, post a picture in the comments under this post, the Q&A game week 8. Same thumbnail as the actual Q&A, so it's quite funny when we take a look at the bookies' predictions for anytime goal scorer this weekend. Some of those players, the bookies' favorites, is actually, they are some of the most sold players ahead of game week 8. So we have Salah, Joe Pedro, Gyökeres. The bookies, they actually think they will do well in game week 8. So Salah, he is actually second, 45%. We have Gyökeres 43%. So two of those players. I think that there will be a lot of disappointed managers in game week 8. I'll show you in a minute, but I actually think that if you have Mo Salah at the moment, I think that he is actually a really good captain differential for game week 8. I will get some stats up on the screen in a minute, but let's take a look at Aaron Take's team. Just refresh this. So let's have a look with this team. You have, so let's have a look. Dubravka in goal, Pope, Gabriel Timber, really good defensive double up. Actually, I made a wildcard video ahead of game week 8, and in my wildcard draft ahead of game week 8, I have both Gabriel and Timber. Senesi is in Burn, Richards, Semenyo, Caicedo, Gakpo, Sar, Kudus, João Pedro, Holland, and Gyökeres. Really strong team. I think this is kind of similar to my team. You have 5 strong midfielders, you have 3 strong forwards. So each game week will be kind of a benching headache for this team, of course. You have 5 solid defenders as well. So Aaron takes, is this like, how many free transfers do you have? I think it's probably possible for me to check this myself. Let's see. So this is probably a wildcard. I can see free transfers unlimited. So this is Aaron takes wildcard team. Also sent on X. I've also sent on X. Great. I'll have a look in a minute. The Infernal Adventure. Great. Thanks. I'll do that now. Just post the picture. We'll get it up in a minute. But this is a wildcard team from Aaron Takes. So if you already have played your bench boost, I would. So it kind of depends if you played your bench boost or not, as mentioned. So if you have played your bench boost, I would potentially have a fodder in my team at the moment to make the most of the budget. One player I don't really like in this team is actually Gakpo. I know that he has started and done really well for Liverpool so far, but I can see some rotation for the Liverpool attackers and especially Gakpo going forward. I know that he did well for the Netherlands. I'm not really sure what's happening in here, but let's see what this. Just need to get the team back. Really sorry. There we go. So Aaron takes wildcard team. What I don't like about this team is actually Gakpo. I'm not really sure if he will play week in, week out going forward. Kudus is solid. Sar is a really good option as well. So Caicedo, he's probably still a really good option at that price, 5.7, but I wouldn't really pick him in my wildcard team, to be honest. I think that Caicedo scoring 3 goals so far this season, I can't really see him keeping this up. So, but of course, at that price, he will keep picking up the extra 2 points for defensive contributions. So he's probably a solid option, but you would potentially never captain Caicedo, right? So Semenyo, for obvious reasons, he is in. Up front, Joe Pedro, I would get him probably on a wildcard as well. Holland and Gyökeres. I'm not really sure if I would pick Gyökeres on a wildcard. I think that I probably would have downgraded Gyökeres to upgrade Gakpo to Saka, to be honest. So potentially Gyökeres to Jared Bowen and Gakpo to Saka. Not sure why Caicedo is flagged as he didn't go on international duty from Neil Cheeseman. I think that he did not participate in the latest Chelsea trading session. I think this is why he is potentially yellow flagged. What's your chip strategy this season? So my chip strategy is actually to play my bench boosts in game week 8. I played my wildcard in game week 3. So in game week 15, this is like I haven't really decided, but my free hit will probably be used in game week 15, mostly because of the fixtures. There are a lot of solid FPL players that have a really good fixture in game week 15 playing against some of the worst teams. So game week 15 will probably be the game week where I use my last ship, the free hit. So chip strategy for the other set of the chips will potentially be decided when we get more information about double game weeks and all of that good stuff. FPL Lisa, hi, thanks for joining in. So this is Aaron Take's wildcard team ahead of game week 8. I think it's really solid, 15 strong players. I would potentially downgrade Gyökeres and bring in someone like Jared Bowen and upgrade Gakpo to Saka. I think that at the moment Saka is potentially the better Arsenal attacker to own. I actually think that Esse is a decent punt as well, but I can see rotation coming for Gakpo. I know Gakpo, he has been really solid so far this season and he has done well for Netherlands as well, but I would potentially consider something like that. So let's have a look at a couple of other teams as well. So this is another wildcard team. Country wildcard in game week 3, bench boost 8 and free hit 15. Interesting, yeah. So it's not like I think I did not plan this chip strategy during preseason. It's actually something that I had to do the wildcard in game week 3 because of injuries and suspensions and stuff like that. So this is the reasons why I have gone for the wildcard in game week 3. Bench boost in game week 8 is mostly because I really want to get the bench boost out of the way. I have a similar team to the team we saw from Aaron Takes with the latest wildcard team. I have 5 strong midfielders. I have 3 strong forwards at the moment. I think I'll probably want to downgrade one of them to someone like Josh King in midfield to stay on my bench most game weeks, or actually someone like Obi, the United forward. His price has gone down to 4.3, so I think this is a decent strategy to make the most out of the budget. So this is one of the reasons why I'm considering a bench boost. Would you keep the bench as it is or swap any around? Let's have a look at this team as well. Raya in goal, playing against Fulham. You have a double up with Calafiori and Virgil van Dijk playing against United. Rodon and Richards. Enzo Fernandez, Semenyo, Saka. Joe Pedro, Foltmother and Holland. So hopefully Enzo Fernandez will play in game week 8. So with this team, I would definitely bench Richards. I don't really fancy having my defenders playing against my midfielders, and seeing that you have Semenyo in this team, I would advise you to actually bench Richards, and the obvious replacement, in my opinion, is Kudus. I actually like Kudus ahead of game week 8, so with this team, I would definitely consider to play a 3-4-3 and bench Richards and play Kudus. Yeah, good idea. Going to do that now. So hopefully Crystal Palace will not keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth. Hopefully Richards will get no attacking returns. I will feel really bad, but in my opinion, this is kind of a no-brainer. So bench Richards, play Kudus. In my opinion, I think this is the way to go with this team. Real strong team. I think you will have a decent game week. So if you're interested in having your team a quick review or a discussion, if you have any transfer plans, stuff like that, just post a picture of your team under my latest post. This is the latest edition. Let's see if we can fit this one in as well. Perfect, perfect. Thanks for the help. No worries, no worries. So this is, let's have a quick look. Let me know in the chat who owns this team. Dubravka in goal. I think that having cells, I would potentially just start Dubravka myself. I think that he actually has a better chance of picking up a clean sheet compared to Nottingham Forest, especially seeing you have Joe Pedro, you have Shalba, so double up on Chelsea. It makes perfect sense to play Dubravka, even though he is only priced at 4 million. So Munoz in defense, Shalba, as mentioned, Timber and Van de Ven in midfield, Semeno, Reinders, Kudus, up front, Pedro, Holland, and Gyökeres. NGI on the bench, same as me at the moment. So with this team, it's kind of similar. The Infernal, I mentioned, this is mine, thank you. So it's kind of similar, but I think it's kind of harder giving the same advice. So you have a Crystal Palace defender playing against one of your midfielders in Munoz against Semenyo, but Munoz is like, with his attacking threats, I would potentially just play Munoz, even though they potentially can cancel each other out. So it's like, if Munoz keeps a clean sheet, this means that Semenyo will blank. And if Semenyo holds, this means that Munoz potentially, of course, will not get a clean sheet. But as mentioned, with the attacking threat that Munoz has, I think that he should start. So having Semenyo against Munoz, they might actually both deliver. So benching NGI, I think this actually makes sense. So if I were not to play my bench boost, I would potentially do the same this game week. Really tough traveling to Etihad. So even though NGI is nailed on for Everton, and even though he is their first choice penalty taker, I think that this is probably the way to go. So another option is, of course, to play Rodon. I really like the Leeds potential for keeping a clean sheet against Burnley. So with this team, I would probably consider playing my bench boost if you haven't done so already. You have some King against Arsenal. Potentially not the best fixture for him. So not really sure, but probably not a bench boost worthy team this. But Rodon against Burnley, I really like this fixture. Leeds, they are actually one of the most solid defensive units so far this season. So playing against one of the worst teams, I think this is a good fixture for Rodon, and you might potentially actually bench some points, but it's only priced at 4 million, so it's not the end of the world. Captain Holland, I will do this as well. So I think this team is good to go. Double up on Chelsea, double up on Arsenal, double up on Spurs as well. So do you have any planned transfers with this team, or are you kind of locked in ahead of game week 8? So I have Gyökeres in my team as well. I'm kind of regret going Gyökeres. So if I were to play my wildcard this game week, I would definitely pick Saka as my Arsenal attacker. I think that SA is a really good option, as mentioned earlier as well. one transfer, one free transfer, 4.7 in the bank. One move like Saka and Sosar in for Njai or roll. Thank you, mate. Really sorry I missed the context, but you have a lot in the bank. So with this team considering to sell, let's get it back on the screen. So with this team considering to sell Njai, let's see. So if you have enough funds in the bank, I think I probably would consider something like Njai to Saka. But this means you will have to bench Munoz. So I like the idea of selling Njai to bring in Saka and benching Munoz, going for a 3-4-3. So as mentioned earlier, I really like Saka going forward, considering the fixtures. He's done well for England as well. He looks to be back in form, so I think that he is the first choice penalty taker as well. We saw this in game week 7. There have actually been some rumors about Gyökeres taking the next one because he really needs some goals to like better his confidence, but I think it's up to them on the pitch, and Saka, I think that he is first choice. This is my team at the moment. My bench boost is active. I'm not really a big fan of this actual team. I have 2 free transfers and I will definitely use them. So Rodgers to, I think that Rodgers to Kudus and Williams to Gabriel. Those are my potential moves ahead of game week 8. I might take a punt on bringing in Enzo, hoping that he is fit. But this means I would not have enough in the bank to upgrade Williams to an Arsenal defender. So I can go Rodgers to Enzo and Williams to Diouf. So let's get a quick poll up. Let's see. Radu Gavrluta 2985. Hi, could you please look at my team ID? Hello mate, how are you doing? Just fine. Thanks for joining in. All good. Really excited for the Premier League to be back this weekend. Really excited. If you're interested, go post a picture of your team under my latest post, or do as Radu Gavrluta 2985. He posted his team ID. We can do this as well, but this will give me your game week 7 score. So let's look at that as well. Radu Gavrluta's team, 87 points. Really solid game week. And a big green arrow in game week 7. So a double up with Vicario and Pedro Porro Munoz and Senesi and Gabriel with 9 points. You have Kudus and Semenyo, he's in with 18 points. So actually 40 points from those two midfielders. Bruno Fernandes and Jai with the penalty as well. Chris Wood injured. I'm not really sure what I would do with Chris Wood if I had him in my team at the moment, but he is potentially a sell at the moment. He has seen limited minutes in the last couple of game weeks as well. So Chris Wood, he is one I would consider selling. Holland, he is in your captain. Really strong bench as well with Joao Pedro and Joy and Goodmanson. Potentially a decent bench boost going forward. 87 points. Great game week. So Kyrgios, Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, and Jai. Chris Wood. I would definitely put Joao Pedro in my starting 11 for game week 8. This means you will bench Chris Wood. You will have Semenyo playing against Munoz, as we've seen earlier. Goodmanson, I would be tempted to play him as well. So with this team, I would be tempted to do something with Chris Wood, potentially selling Chris Wood and playing my bench boost, to be honest. So if you have the funds available to do something like Chris Wood to Jared Bowen, I think this potentially could be a really good move ahead of game week 8. Decent fixtures for West Ham going forward, and we know that Fulkrug, he is injured, so Jared Bowen, he can potentially play as West Ham's number 9 going forward. So I know Jared Bowen, he's not on penalties, but he's usually involved when West Ham scores. So I think that at the moment, Jared Bowen is a really good asset. Chris Wood, I'm not sure. They haven't been that great. Another reason why I would consider selling Chris Wood is, of course, his yellow flag, but he has seen limited minutes in the last couple of game weeks. They have some other good forwards at the moment with Igor Jesus, who newly signed from Brazil. So can't really see Chris Wood reproducing the season he had in 24-25 season. So however, a really good game week, solid game week for Radu Gavriluta. 87 points, a big green arrow. Game week rank of 360k. Really solid. You can see that the total players at the moment, it's actually 12,220,000 FPL managers at the moment. Of course, there are a lot of dead teams already, and of course some having multiple teams, but I think that 12 million potentially is a record. I haven't really checked this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but 12 million FPL teams so far. So with this team, Radu Gavriluta, considering something like Jared Bowen, Esse and Gordon in for Wood and Joy and Bruno. Jared Bowen. So this means you will have Haaland, Joao Pedro and Bowen up front. And in midfield you will have Kyrgios and Jai, Semenyo, Gordon and Esse. I really like those moves. I think it's an upgrade. My only worry is that you will have 8 really strong forwards and midfielders, so we will potentially have benching headaches every game week. So we will have to bench a strong midfielder or a strong forward each game week in seeing that you have a solid defense as well, Gudmundsson, priced at 4 million, will probably stay on your bench each game week. Senesi has tough fixtures as well, so starting Porro Gabriel Munoz is probably a good idea, but you will have to bench a really strong forward or midfielder. But I like the upgrade. It kind of depends how many transfers you have at the moment. I can probably 4 free transfers. Jared Bowen, SA, Gordon. I think this would bench boost with, yeah, definitely. If you still haven't played your bench boost, I think it's a really good idea. Sell Chris Wood, Enjoy, and Bruno Fernandes to bring in Jared Bowen, SA, Anthony Gordon, and play your bench boost. I think you potentially will get another green arrow with this plan. So yeah, go for it. I played Wildcard this game week. I shan't rocks. So you're currently on a Wildcard. So let's see if there are. So this was Ryan's team. 687. Let's have a look at that as well. So this is probably good enough. So playing my bench boost, I have 2 free transfers and 2.5 in the bank. What would you do? So the context, playing bench boosts, 2 free transfers, 2.5 million in the bank. Let's see what this team looks like. So in goal, Raya and Dubravka. I think that this is a really good game week to bench boost with Dubravka playing against Leeds. Burnley, they are one of the worst defensive teams, but Leeds at the same time, they haven't really impressed us that much when we consider their attack. So playing Dubravka in game week 8 is a good idea. So Raya, Dubravka in goal, Senesi, Lacroix and Richards, Romero and Mukiele. Foden in midfield together with Reinders, and a triple up on Man City with Erling Haaland. Dewsbury Hall, of course, a really tough fixture for him playing away against Man City, and you have a triple up on Man City as well. Joe Pedro playing against Forest, really good fixture, and Gyökeres as well. With 2 free transfers out. I probably would consider something like I think that Mbumo is a decent option. I know that the fixture is tough playing away against Liverpool, but they haven't been that great, and we know that Alisson Becker, he is still out, so playing Mbumo is in game week 8 is fine. Dewsbury Hall, I would potentially, seeing that you're going to play your bench boost, I would potentially consider transferring Dewsbury Hall out. I know you have him in your team. You most probably carried him when he had his suspension last game week, of course, but Dewsbury Hall to someone like Anthony Gordon potentially, or Enzo Fernandez. Double ball. Another thing I don't really fancy when we consider this as a bench boost team is, I talked about this a couple of times, there are a lot of players, of course, with Semenyo, and seeing that you have a double Crystal Palace defense, they will most probably cancel each other out. So if Semenyo scores, both of your Palace defenders will lose their clean sheet and most probably blank. If you get a clean sheet from your Palace defenders, Semenyo will blank. So I'm not really sure if this is the right game week to play the bench boost, to be honest. I think having 2 free transfers, 2.5 million in the bank, I think I would just play Raya and bench Dubravka. I would potentially bench Dewsbury Hall and my double Crystal Palace defenders and wait for a better game week. So I would just save my transfers and you will have 3 free transfers going into game week 9. I wouldn't really be that keen on bench boosting with Semenyo and a double Crystal Palace defense, to be honest. Ishant Rocks, I have shared my team too, please check it out. Let's have a look. So it's probably this team. I think we had this team actually on the screen a couple of minutes ago. 1 free transfer, 4.7 in the bank. Not this one. I think I had this up on the screen. I remember the context a lot in the bank. I would potentially, with this team, do something like GW8 Saka and bench Munoz. Not this one. So let's see if we can find your team. So that was the team from Ryan. We had a look at that team from Push as well. Howard, this was the team we just had on the screen. I can't really find any more teams, to be honest, so I'm not really sure where I can find your team. Potentially try to post it one more time, or let me know your X handle. So Radu Gavriluta, I like the idea of Jared Bowen, Esse, and Anthony Gordon, but is Thiago up front, Saka and Sar a better combination? I like, of course, Saka, really good option. Sar is a really good option as well, but what I don't like is Thiago Igor in there. So Gordon, Sar, I think Sar, Gordon, it's probably a draw. Saka, Esse, Saka takes this one, but Jared Bowen is a better option for compared to Thiago. So it's really close, but I think I would potentially go for the Jared Bowen, Esse, and Anthony Gordon one. I think that Anthony Gordon, he is probably the first choice penalty taker for Newcastle. I know that Foltmada took the last penalty for Newcastle, but this was when Anthony Gordon was subbed off. So I think that if there are some new FPL managers with Foltmada in their team, if they're expecting him to continue taking penalties, I think they will be a bit disappointed. I think Anthony Gordon will continue taking them. And on the press conference today, Eddie Howe, he said that he will have to rest Voltmara going forward. And he's talked about potentially playing Anthony Gordon as number 9 as well. So, of course, a good combination, Thiago, Saka, and Sar, but I still prefer the first option with Jared Bowen, Esse, and Anthony Gordon. Aishant Jadav. Not sure why I can't access your team, to be honest. You see that there are 4 replies under the post, but I can only see 3 of them. Not really sure what I'm doing wrong. Maybe if I go into my notifications. Can't seem to find your team. Maybe if you try posting the same picture under this post instead, my pinned comment about my Game Week 8 video, potentially I can get... I'm new to X and I can see a luck beside my username. What's that? So probably if you have a luck beside your username, I think it's probably something to do with your posts. I think that they probably have to be verified, something like that, before others can see them, potentially. It's something wrong from my side. All good. All good. And should I go Jared Bowen or Mateta? Jared Bowen or Mateta? Let's get your team back. Jared Bowen or Mateta? I've seen you already have Minos and no West Ham player. I think I would just go Jared Bowen, to be honest. I really fancy Jared Bowen going forward. He is a really good FPL asset. I know he's not on penalties, but he's like close to being the perfect FPL asset. He will start every game. He will play close to 90 minutes every game as well. So I think I would go Jared Bowen. But both are really good options, to be honest. Mateta, he will start most games for Palace and play close to 90 minutes as well, and he is on penalties. But I think that considering the fixtures, Nuno, I think I have to agree with Tijani Umar 26 in the chat. Jared Bowen. For me. So thanks for the help in the poll. I asked a question, Rogers and Williams, who would you bring in? Enzo and Diouf or Paqueta and Gabriel? It's actually 50-50 at the moment, so this is my team at the moment. With my bench boost active, I will definitely sell Rogers and Williams. I would like to have an Arsenal defender, of course, covering the Arsenal defense. There are a lot of teams with a double up on Arsenal, so my rank will take a hit if Arsenal keep a clean sheet. They have really good fixtures and they are the best defense in the league. So I think I'm leaning towards Paqueta and Gabriel, to be honest. No, Lisa, no Semenyo. Still no Semenyo for me. Of course, I can bring Semenyo into this team. Don't really fancy their fixtures going forward, but of course, if I take a look at what I can do with 0.7 in the bank, I can, of course, sell Rogers, bring in Semenyo. I can do something like that, but I think I like this even better, to be honest. So FPL Lisa, she has her own YouTube channel, really great channel with weekly videos. So go check that one out as well. Every game week since around game week 2, game week 3, you have been talking about Semenyo. Of course, it makes sense. Really, really good season for him so far. I'm really hoping that at some point he will go back to the old Semenyo, miss more chances. So I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, so I don't really have the number, but I think it's like 2.8, something like that, expected goals for Semenyo, but he has overachieved that by a lot. I'm probably crazy. This is DM McDonald. I'm probably crazy. I'm going to go for triple captain this week on Salah. His record against United is fantastic. Just a gut feeling. Might end up kicking myself if I didn't do it. So actually, I started this stream. I have kind of forgotten about it. I'm really sorry. So if you have been waiting for the Salah talk, I think that it's time for me to put the stats up on the screen. So I'm talking about this in my team selection video as well. So if you haven't watched that one, I would really appreciate a watch. I need to up my watch time a bit. So I'm getting close to 3,000 watch time hours at the moment. And that would be really great. So let's have a quick look. So this is Man United's defensive stats from the last 4 game weeks. They are actually one of the worst defensive teams, so I agree with DM McDonald. If you have Salah in your team, I would definitely consider giving him the captain's armband in game week 8. So Man United, they have kept 1 clean sheet, but they have conceded 7 goals. They have conceded 13 big chances, and this is actually a lot in 4 games, so they are one of the worst teams, only beaten by Burnley when we consider big chances conceded. Shots on target 18, and they have an expected goals conceded of 5.79. So considering that Mo Salah, he usually does well against Man United as well. So Mo Salah, if you own him, a really good captain options. How many hours now? Approximately 2,650, something like that. Ocean Rocks, please check the post. Definitely have a look. So I will just refresh this one. So this is probably it. Let's see. Storm just arrived. Any news on Enzo and Caicedo's status? The thing is that we don't really, after the press conference today, I'm not really convinced about Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. We got the news that they haven't participated in the full training session, so I'm actually leaning towards just not bringing in Enzo ahead of game week 8, to be honest. But he might play, he might not. I don't really know, to be honest. So I don't think that anyone has any concrete news on Enzo Fernandez. We know that he is a risk. We know Caicedo is a risk as well. But I think that Caicedo is probably more secure of starting game week 8 compared to Enzo Fernandez. Same goes for Pedro Neto. I know that he is not as popular considering that his ownership is much lower, but just arrived. Any news on Enzo and Caicedo? I'm sorry, can't really give any concrete news on any of them, but we might get something. Might get something tomorrow. I can just have a quick look to see if there are any updates, but Of course, we might get some early team news tomorrow ahead of the deadline. Chelsea, they are playing in the early fixture, but won't be that confident. So thanks for the update. I have both in my team. So if you have them both, I would definitely just start them. I wouldn't transfer them out or bench them. So if you already have Caicedo, if you already have Enzo Fernandez, just start them. But if you're considering to bring in Enzo, I would be a bit wary. So I might actually avoid Enzo, but I will potentially bring Enzo in for game week 9. I might just go Paqueta, but I will talk about my team in a minute. Let's take a quick look. I think you solved the problem. Just have to remove this. Here it is. We have been trying to get this team back. Not back, we've just been trying to get this team up on the screen. So Raya in goal, triple up. I love triple ups in defense, especially when it's from the best defensive team. So Raya, Timber, and Gabriel, a lovely triple up. So Guehi is in as well. Sar in midfield, Semenyo, Gravenberch, Enzo Fernandez, Minte, Joao Pedro, and Hallen. Really strong bench as well, with a double Newcastle. Senesi is in, Petrovic. So this is a wildcard team. I think it's really, really solid. What I've been talking about this a couple of times already this evening. What I don't like about this team is that you will have to bench a strong player each game week. So I think that having Fault Mother last on your bench, I think this potentially will mean that you will bench a lot of points week in, week out. It's not the end of the world, of course, because you will potentially get price rises for your players and stuff like that. But what I like to do is to at least have one cheap player on my bench to allow me to spend more of the budget on my actual starting 11. But of course, a really, really strong team. You have Raya, Petrovic, really good double goalkeeper combination as well. I think Enzo on a wildcard makes sense. I have come down to the decision that I will probably not use a transfer on bringing Enzo in. There is, of course, a risk that he will not play in game week 8 or potentially start on the bench. The thing is that there are some rumors that he has some troubles with his knee. There are also some other rumors that he already had planned to just play the first game for Argentina and then travel back to London. So not really sure what's true. Fault Mother in for Minte. Considering that Minte is playing at home, but Newcastle, they are one of the best defensive teams so far, so I would play Voltmada instead of Minte. I think Voltmada definitely will start in game week 8, playing up front for Newcastle. I think, to be honest, with this team, I would make 2 changes. I would bench Minte and play Voltmada, and I would bench Guehi and start Dan Burn. So by doing this, you will avoid having your midfielders playing against your defenders. So Guehi on the bench, Dan Burn in, Minte on the bench, and Voltmada in. This would be my 2 substitutions with this team. But I really like it. It has some differentials. Sar, Gravenberch, you have Minte, It's a good asset going forward, but I would potentially play a Fault Mother, as mentioned. Up front, João Pedro. I think that if I play my wildcard in game week 8, I would just get João Pedro considering the fixtures. I know, of course, that he hasn't really delivered in the last 4-5 game weeks, but he's still a good player, so considering the injury to Cole Palmer as well, and the fact that they don't really have any other good options at the moment to challenge for that number 9 spot, so let's see. So Fault Mother, Burn into the starting 11, Minte and Guahi to the bench. So at least this will prevent you from having your midfielders playing against your defenders. But a really strong team. I'm not a big Gravenberch fan, to be honest, but I would probably just start him. Can potentially drop to the bench. I think the fixture for Liverpool playing against Man United is a good fixture. I just had United's defensive stats on the screen 5 minutes ago, so I think that Liverpool will do well against Man United. Blingen 9. Bench 1, Rodgers, Van de Ven, or Lacroix. Probably Lacroix. Probably Lacroix, especially if you have Semenyo. But if you don't have Semenyo, I would start Lacroix and bench Van de Ven. So this is my team at the moment. I actually have Rodgers and Williams, but I will most definitely sell both. I have 2 free transfers, 0.7 in the bank. My plan at the moment is to bring in Paqueta and Gabriel. So this is my team. I might bring in Enzo Fernandez and Diouf as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm leaning towards bringing in Paqueta and Gabriel and playing my bench boost in game week 8. So go vote in the poll at the moment. Enzo and Diouf, they are actually on 58. So Enzo and Diouf, 42% for Paqueta and Gabriel. I'm kind of leaning the other way, as mentioned, bringing in Gabriel and Paqueta. Paqueta, he is the first choice penalty taker for West Ham, and they have really good fixtures, so it's tempting. Enzo Fernandez, he might not even start in game week 8. This makes the decision kind of hard. So if I knew that Enzo Fernandez was 100% fit, I would probably go for Enzo and Diouf. But on the other hand, I really would like to have at least one Arsenal defender in, so kind of a hard decision, to be honest. Esa Parker, which bench boost is better? In game week 8, I will have Dubravka, Caicedo, Rodon, and Senesi. Or in game week 9 with Dubravka, Reinders, Rodon, and Senesi. So Senesi in Senesi and Rodon in both, Dubravka in both, so it's either Caicedo or Reinders. I would probably pick the game week where you have the least players playing against each other. So Senesi is benched in both. Rodon benched, Dubravka benched, so Reinders or Caicedo. So the thing is that it's always a bit of a risk involved playing the bench boost right after an international break, but at the moment I'm really close to playing my bench boost as well. We haven't really got that many injuries this international break, so if you have avoided injuries, I think I would just play my bench boost and get it out of the way. So as mentioned, there is a bit of a risk involved playing the bench boost after an international break, but we don't know what will happen in game week 8. You might get an injury to one of your players. One of your players might get suspended. So, to be honest, if we don't get any more news about injuries, I would just play my bench boost in game week 8. I know that Caicedo is a slight risk, but especially if we get the confirmation tomorrow morning that Caicedo will start, I would definitely play my bench boost game week 8. If we get some more news about Caicedo not starting in game week 8, then of course bench Caicedo and play your bench boosts in game week 9. So kind of a strange game week. Salah, Joe Pedro and Gyökeres, all of them are on the top 5 list for most transfers out. On the other hand, they are on the top 5 list for the bookies anytime goal scorer in game week 5 as well. So Haaland, he is the favorite, 58% chance of a goal against Everton at home. Salah, he is actually second. So the most sold player is the bookie's second favorite for anytime goal scorers. So Haaland 1, Salah, he is number 2, and Gyökeres against Fulham, he is number 3. 43% chance of Gyökeres goal according to the bookies. On this list, it's not in this graphic, but Joao Pedro, he is actually number 5. So if you want to see the complete top 5, go watch my team selection video or head over to X. Weekly I post top 5 ahead of every game week, so I go check out the stats from the bookies, translate it into percentages, and post it on X. Hussein Mbabali, talk about Jared Bowen, please. I love talking about Jared Bowen. I love him as an FPL option. So I talked about this 15 minutes ago as well, but I'm glad to repeat myself. So Jared Bowen, he will potentially play as West Ham's number 9 going forward. We got an injury to Fulkrug, so Jared Bowen is potentially playing as West Ham's number 9. What I really like about Jared Bowen is the fact that he, of course, he's on some set pieces, taking free kicks, corners, stuff like that. We know Pakta is on penalties, but I think that Jared Bowen will be involved if West Ham scores. So 90 minutes man will start every game week. Rarely gets injured as well. I think Jared Bowen is good value as well, and I really like his ownership. So I talked about this in my game week 8 wildcard video as well. Jared Bowen, really, really good asset. I'm not that happy about Gyökeres, so if Gyökeres blanks in game week 8, I might actually consider doing something like Jared Bowen instead of Gyökeres and upgrading Mbumo to Saka in game week 9. So talk about Bowen. I'm not sure what else I can say about Jared Bowen that I think that he is a really good FPL option going forward. Good fixtures, good minutes on set pieces, potentially playing as their number 9. There are a lot of good reasons to bring in Jared Bowen at the moment. Esa Parker, no one plays against each other. No one plays. It's me from the bench boost question. Yeah, I remember my advice was to just play your bench boost the game week where the least players was playing against each other. So what makes your question a bit difficult is, of course, the question mark, considering that Caicedo potentially can be benched or not play at all in game week 8. So I think considering that Caicedo is a slight risk and the fact that so your bench boost is the same in game week 8 and game week 9. It's just that you have Caicedo in the first one and you have Reinders in the second. So I would potentially just bench Caicedo in game week 8 and play my bench boost in game week 9. So in the right corner, I have in the graphics, you can see that I have a watch list. Jared Bowen, he is one of my favorite forwards. Strand Larsen from Wolves, big differential as well, only selected by 1.5% of the managers. So he might take penalties for Wolves. And Wolves, they are one of the teams with the best fixtures going forward. So Jared Bowen, really good option. Strand Larsen, and there are a lot of good options up front at the moment. So Joe Pedro as well. I know he hasn't done well, but I think that he's a good option. We have been discussing Mateta as well, and he is also a really good option going forward. Nailed on for Crystal Palace. Okay fixtures and on penalties. Let's see. So Esa Parker, after giving this a second thought, I think that it's probably a better idea to play the bench boost in game week 9. Do I start Senesi or Shalaba? So yeah, if you're going to play your bench boost in game week 9, I would just put Senesi on the bench. I know that he is a Defcon magnet, but can't really see Bournemouth keeping a clean sheet against Crystal Palace. At least I'm hoping that Crystal Palace will score, seeing that I have Sar in my team. But playing away against Crystal Palace, this is not an easy fixture for Bournemouth. So considering that Chelsea playing against Nottingham Forest, I think this is a better fixture compared to playing away against Crystal Palace. So Chelsea, they have a strong defense, and I will play Sanchez myself, so hopefully Chelsea can keep a clean sheet against Forest. So on the screen, my team, I have my bench boost active. At the moment, I have NGI, Williams, and Rodgers on the bench. I will sell Rodgers and Williams. I have two options. I can go for an Arsenal defender and Paqueta, or I can go for Enzo Fernandez, but I will not have enough funds to get an Arsenal defender, so it's Enzo and the West Ham defender Diouf. At the moment, Enzo and Diouf are the favorites in the poll. 50, it's close, it's really close at the moment. 54% voting for Enzo and Diouf, 46% for Paqueta and Gabriel. So the top three for predicted clean sheets: Man City are the favorites, Arsenal second, and actually this is the first time this season, but Leeds, they are actually top three for predicted clean sheets ahead of game week 8. So if you have a Leeds defender, if you have Rodon, Gudmundsson, I think that they should start in game week 8. So they have actually a 36% chance of keeping a clean sheet against Burnley. So Leeds, they have been decent. Burnley, they have been poor. So if you have a Leeds defender, I think they actually should start. And this is one of the reasons why I'm really interested in playing my bench boost in game week 8. I have Dubravka, I have Rodon. Let's see on my team selection page. So this is my team at the moment. Sanchez in goal. I have Dubravka on the bench, but I will play my bench boost, so both of them will start. So if I don't play my bench boost, this would be my game week 8 team selection. I would put Rodon in the starting 11, Fabian Schär playing against Brighton, Pedro Porro against Aston Villa, and Mbeumo tough fixture, Rodgers tough fixture, but I will just sell Rodgers and Williams. On the bench, I would have NGI. Not really fancy him doing well in game week 8, but he is a nail-on starter for Everton, and he will take their penalties. So this will be my bench boost. Nico Williams, he will be gone. It will be either Diouf or I might actually go for Timber, but most probably I will play safe and go for Gabriel. Let's see. One of the reasons, I have mentioned this a couple of times, but one of the reasons why I really want to play my bench boost is the fact that at the moment I have 5 strong midfielders and have 3 strong forwards. I usually like to have at least one fodder, so after playing my bench boost, I will downgrade one of my midfielders or one of my forwards to a 4.5 option. So Williams out, Rodgers out. Gabriel, Paqueta. So if I go through with those moves, I will have a bench consisting of NGI would be my first bench. I would have actually with this team I would have NGI, Pedro Porro, Van de Ven and Dubravka on the bench. So a bench boost with Dubravka, Van de Ven, Pedro Porro, NGI. I think that's probably a decent bench boost, I'd say. I would definitely start my front three, Joe Pedro, Haaland, Gyökeres. In midfield, I would definitely start Kudus, Sar, Mbumo, and Pakita. So NGI, he will be on the bench. I would definitely start Gabriel, Fabian Schär, Rodon for the good fixture against Burnley. So yeah, Dubravka, NGI, Pedro Porro, and Van de Ven. FPL Lisa, what about Timber? Of course, Timber is really tempting as well. Can potentially go Timber. This would give me an extra 0.4 in the bank as well. So I mentioned this early on in the stream. I might actually go for Timber. Maybe I should just make those moves. This would give me 0.6 in the bank. So Rodgers and Williams to Timber and Pakita. And if I go for Timber, I will have a bit more to spend in midfield. So this will give me 6.5. Let's see which midfielders I can get. Enzo Fernandez, he is 6.7. So with Timber instead of Gabriel, I will have a bit more to spend in midfield. At the moment, I'm leaning towards Pakita, but Enzo Fernandez, he is 0.2, too expensive. I only have 6.5 to spend, but I can bring in someone like, not Rodri, I can bring in someone like Estevao. Rice is an option as well. There's not that many midfielders in this around this price. That's really interesting at the moment. So I think it's probably better value to just go for Pakita, to be honest. Just short of Enzo. Yeah, 0.2, kind of annoying. I actually tried this earlier on this week to see if I can do something, but I have actually an option to, if I sell NGI as well, I think I can get Enzo. So if I decide to go for Enzo, I can do something like this. So this would be for a -4, but of course the team is really, really strong and solid ahead of game week 8. So it might actually be worth it, considering that I will play my bench boost. So this means I would have a bench consisting of Dubravka on the bench together with Mbumo playing against Liverpool, Pedro Porro, and Van de Ven. think this definitely warrants a bench boost. Mbumo, Porro, Van de Ven, and Dubravka. But this is for a -4. I think, of course, Enzo is tempting, but he is a risk. Already have NGI in that spot. Some really good fixtures for. Let's take a look at the Everton fixtures. At least in game week 10, game week 11, but Man United away, game week 12, Newcastle at home, then they have Bournemouth. Tough fixtures in game week 16, 17, and they play Bournemouth in game week 18. Maybe the -4 is a good idea, especially if we get the confirmation that Enzo Fernandez will start. I'm really tempted by that -4, to be honest. So a tough fixture in game week 8 for NGI. Playing against Spurs, I have a double up on Spurs in defense. Sunderland away, so the fixture difficulty is a green #2, but we know that Sunderland, they have done reasonably well at home so far this season. They have Fulham, Man United, but then again, tough fixtures, game week 13, 14, Chelsea away, Arsenal. I might actually, considering that I will play my bench boost, I might be tempted by those moves. Let's see, remove. Players, Timber in, covering the Arsenal defense. Paqueta for the good West Ham fixtures, and he is on penalties. Same goes for Enzo Fernandez, while Cole Palmer is out. Esa Parker, do I triple captain Haaland this week? I think it's probably not the best game week for a triple captain. I think that Everton, they might actually surprise us, but of course it's Man City, it's Erling Haaland. So the thing is that at the moment, the reason why I think that game week 8 might be a good game week is that we have had an international break. Erling Haaland, he only played one of the games. He was rested for the second game for Norway, so he's fit. He has had a bit of rest, so I think that playing the triple captain on Erling Haaland in game week 8 is not the worst idea, of course, considering that he's a definite starter. He will definitely play close to 90 minutes. He is on penalties. He is in form. My only worry is that Everton, they are actually solid defensively, but I don't really see Everton keeping Man City away. So yeah, I think it's a yes for me, to be honest. Sandri, Baloo 6. Hi, my team is Raya Dubravka, Guardiol, Senesi, Gabriel, Richards, Mukiele, and in midfield Paqueta, Fernandez, Semenyo, Reinders, Caicedo, up front Gyökeres, Haaland, Joe Pedro. Playing my bench boost thoughts. I did NGI and Tarkovsky to Paqueta and Guardiol. Definitely a really, really good game week, considering that Mukiele, solid fixture playing at home against Wolves. Paqueta, of course, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, Reinders, Caicedo, Gyökeres. Really, really strong team. Definitely warrants a bench boost. So if I had this team, I think it makes sense to bench boost. Only worry, of course, I mentioned this a couple of times, it's really, really familiar having a Crystal Palace defender playing against Semenyo, they will most probably cancel each other out. I mentioned this a couple of times, so if you've been here since the start, you've heard this a couple of times before, but Richards, Semenyo playing against each other, they will most probably cancel each other out. So if Richards keeps a clean sheet, Semenyo will blank, and if Semenyo scores, Richards will blank. So, of course, there is a chance Richards getting an attacking return, but yeah, the odds are not in your favor. But I still think that this team is good enough for a bench boost, to be honest. I don't really see which players I would bench in midfield or up front with this team. So yeah, seeing that you already sold NGI to bring in Pakita, I think that bench boost is a good idea. So at the moment, I'm actually leaning towards taking a -4. I want to play my bench boost as well to get it out of the way. I have at the moment Williams, I have NGI, I have Rogers. I will definitely sell Rogers and Williams, but I'm considering taking a hit to sell NGI and bring in Enzo Fernandez. Casero might not start, but I have another transfer. Can get Chaka if needed. Casero yellow flag. I think what I read today is that Casero has an even better chance to start compared to Enzo. My gut feeling is that both potentially will start, especially considering Enzo Fernandez. So there are some rumors about Enzo Fernandez having a knee injury. There are also rumors that Enzo Fernandez cancelling and returning to England early was pre-planned, and that the plan was always for him to only play the first game for Argentina and then return to London. So we haven't had any confirmation about this, so we might get some early team news tomorrow, of course, but there will be a lot of fake rumors as well, so I think it's kind of hard to predict, and I wouldn't rely on early team news. So a couple of seasons ago, this was more common that we got early team news, but it's like some of those the biggest accounts on X with early and inside information about Man City, stuff like that, they have actually been wrong a couple of times. So I think it's really hard to rely on early team news. Hey bro, do you prefer Gyökeres and Sar or Saka and Foltmother? I think I would go Saka, Foltmother, to be honest. If I had a couple of extra free transfers, I would try to find a way to get Saka into my team. So yeah, Saka, Foltmother. The thing is that Foltmother, he might actually be on penalties for Newcastle as well. He took the last one. I know that Anthony Gordon, he was not on the pitch, but he might actually continue taking penalties, seeing that he scored in game week 7. This would mean that Foltmother is really, really good value, but I think it's wouldn't say it's 50-50. I think that Anthony Gordon probably is still on penalties, so it's not like he's done anything to be taken off penalties. He scored 2 in the Champions League between game week 6 and game week 7, so I think it's a bit harsh taking Gordon off penalties, but you never know. So yeah, Saka, Foltmother would be my preferred options. At the moment in the poll, it's 50-50. Rodgers and Williams, they will leave my team. Who should I bring in? Enzo Fernandez and Diouf, or Paqueta and Gabriel? At the moment, I'm leaning towards a hybrid solution. I will probably just confirm those transfers. Selling at least 2 of them. I think I will just sell Williams and Paqueta, and I will make a decision on Enzo Fernandez tomorrow. Let's see. So FPL Lisa, with the suggestion of going Timber instead of Gabriel, I think I have been leaning towards Gabriel, but I know that Timber, he is a really, really good option as well, and this will save me 0.4. So Nico Williams to Timber, Rodgers to Paqueta. I have 2 free transfers. I have 0.7 in the bank, so this will be for free. I have been trying to play my bench boost several game weeks so far. My plan in preseason was actually to play my bench boost in game week 2, but I got 1 injury, 1 suspension, so I need to reschedule my bench boost. I tried in game week 4 as well, but injuries didn't allow me to play my bench boosts, so I'm trying this game week. Williams to Timber, Rodgers to Paqueta. Let's get those transfers confirmed. So to make this bench boosts reliable, I will have to start Timber, of course. Save your team. There we go. So 2 transfers made. Finally, I have an Arsenal defender. Timber, he is in thanks to FPL Lisa. Talked me into Timber instead of going Gabriel. Hopefully Timber will, of course, play most minutes in the Premier League going forward. I think he will. I think he's kind of safe. There's been some rumors about an injury to Ben White as well. So Timber, he is in. On the bench, Njai, Pedro, Porro, and Van de Ven. I might be tempted to do another additional transfer, but I will wait until tomorrow. I will wait to see if we get some news about the Chelsea lineup. I'm really tempted to sell Njai and bring in Enzo Fernandez. I think this would make a really strong bench boost. Dubravka, Enzo Fernandez, and a double Spurs defense playing against Aston Villa. So I think that's it for me this evening. I will have a deadline stream tomorrow, so if you're interested, please join that one as well. It will be a couple of hours before the deadline, maybe even earlier tomorrow. Let's see when I find the time, but there will be a deadline stream tomorrow. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel so you get the notification. So 2 transfers made this evening. I sold Rodgers and I sold Williams, brought in Timber and Pakita. I really like this team, looks good on paper. A lot of home games. I have Pakita playing at home, Sar at home, Kudus at home, Erling Haaland at home. On my bench I have double defenders with Pedro Porro and Van de Ven, and I have my bench goalkeeper Braca playing at home as well. So unless we get any injury news ahead of the game week 8 deadline, this will most probably be my team. I will consider a minus for selling NGI to bring in Enzo Fernandez. I will make a decision tomorrow on the deadline stream, so if you're interested, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. But thanks all for joining in. If I don't see you on the deadline stream tomorrow, hopefully you'll have a really good game week 8 and a good weekend as well. So once again, thanks for joining in. If you're interested, check out the deadline stream tomorrow morning. But if you don't find the time, have a lovely weekend. Yay! Bye. Thanks for joining in. FPL Lisa, as always, really appreciate it. Hopefully you'll have a great weekend and hopefully I'll see you next time.